Hi everyone, I'm Bita Delisi, and in this video we're going to talk about the 4 things that you need to know when you're assuming a tenant. One of the common questions that we get asked from landlords is, if I purchase a tenanted property, can I make some certain changes to the tenancy? Here are the 4 things that you need to know. Number 1, if a buyer purchases a tenanted property, the rent cannot be increased. Number 2, if a buyer purchases a property, a new lease does not need to be signed. If a new lease is signed with different terms, the tenant can bring forward an application to the board and request that, in accordance to the Residential Tenancies Act, and the new landlord that has purchased the property and the tenant was living there, the original lease should carry forward. Number 3, this is one of the important ones, is that a new landlord cannot evict because the rent is below market value or the rent is low. In accordance to Section 18 of the Act, where it states that covenants that run with the land, this means that if the tenancy was in effect prior to the buyer purchasing the tenanted property, the terms continue even after. The only thing that changes when when a buyer buys a tenanted property is where the rent is directed and who the rent is directed to. Another example is if the tenant had a use of a parking spot or use of a garage or use of a shed, and the new landlord wants to use that parking spot or they want to use that shed, the landlord is not permitted to take away that amenity from the tenant. If they do that, then the tenant can bring forward an application through the landlord and tenant board and request a decrease in what they're paying for their monthly rent. If you have any questions regarding what you need to know about assuming a tenant, call us first.